Hi guys, today we have Mr. Men Sports Day. Have you ever been to Nonsense Land? In Nonsense Land, the grass is blue and the trees are red, and all the cars have square wheels. Why? Easy, so they don't roll away when they're parked on a hill. I know, what nonsense. And in Nonsense Land, they hold a sports day every summer. Nothing silly about that, I hear you say. Well, you just have to wait and see. This year, the preparations for the sports day started 2 weeks before the event, and it being Nonsense Land, things happened somewhat differently to how you would have expected. Little Miss Scatterbrain, always forgetting stuff, got the sports field ready. Mr. Dizzy marked out the tracks for the races. Oh my goodness, are you gonna run like that? Not straight lines. And Mr. Nonsense got the finishing line ready. Well, we said finishing line, not a fishing line. A very silly looking finishing line. The day of the Nonsense Land Sports Day dawned to a great deal of excitement. All the Mr. Men were there. And no one was more excited than Mr. Rush, who was at the sports day for the very first time. He couldn't wait for the last event of the day, the 100-meter sprint. But for the first time in his life, he did wait. There were lots of other events to watch first. However, as each one came and went, Mr. Rush became more and more confused. The high jump had become the low jump, and was won by Mr. Small. And the long jump was the short jump, won by Little Miss Tiny. Throwing the hammer became throwing the jelly, won by Mr. Strong. Whoops! Whose jelly went a bit further than he intended to. Look at Little Miss Dotty. I don't quite remember. Little Miss Naughty was leading all the way in the sack race, but Mr. Nosy won it by the nose because he's got such a long nose. For the swimming gala, Mr. Silly had filled the swimming pool with custard, how sweet and sticky and creamy. Mr. Tickle won by a hand on the end of his extraordinarily long arm. And the egg and spoon race became the raw egg and teaspoon race, much trickier and a lot messier. Everyone gathered around for the prize presentation. Mr. Rush could not wait to hear the announcement. The King of Nonsense Land stood up on a stage. In third place, he said, is Mr. Silly for the silliest running shoes ever. Whoa, Mr. Silly has got really funny running shoes. In second place, he continued, is Little Miss Dotty for the silliest running outfit. Can you really run in that outfit? And in first place, for by far the silliest 100-meter sprint is Mr. Slow! But Mr. Slow didn't even run. Look, he hasn't even finished it yet, cried Mr. Rush. He's still walking. Who could not believe what he just heard? Exactly, said the king. He walked. What could be sillier than entering a running race and then not running? And here he comes now. Poor Mr. Rush hadn't realized that the event was called the silliest 100-meter sprint. But that's nonsense, said Mr. Rush. Exactly, said Mr. Slow. Complete nonsense because it's a nonsense land, remember? And he stepped forward to collect his cup. A teacup, not the one of an award. Alright, that's the end of the book today. Mr. Men's Sports Day is really funny and silly in Nonsense Land. I hope you have enjoyed it. See you soon.